Welcome to the Review with Joy and Company, featuring conversations with best-selling authors as well as the hottest reviews with the authors you choose. We're inspiring the world through Christian literature. Stay logged on. We'd like to know, what are you reading?
Well, hello. It's Marvelous Monday. What are you reading? What have you been reading? Well, if you're stuck, I've got a great book for you today. We'll be talking about it. But first, let me remind you, I'm Joy. As always, I am delighted to be in the midst of your company. And let's say hello to Rosemary LeGrand.
Hello, everyone. It's a delight to be in the midst of your company.
And Rose Lewis.
Hi, everybody.
Guys, spring has sprung.
Spring
it's
has
absolutely
sprung.
gorgeous outside. You can't help but feel like a little bit of and just feeling the whole spring coming in. So I'm enjoying the weather today. It's really great. Well, we're going to skip some housekeeping notes because I've got a wonderful author to introduce you guys to. I can't wait to dig into this wonderful read. It is a sort of a coming of age story. But what I will say also is that it's storytelling done pretty well. I mean, storytelling at its best. Who doesn't love a good story, right? I'm getting directions here. So, am I better now? I'm better now. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce to you our author of the hour, Miss Sandra Brown Lindstedt. She comes to us by way of Gothenburg, Sweden, but she's she's an American girl. She was born and raised pretty much between Chicago, Illinois, and right here in our home of Texas. So she's truly a Texas girl, and a lot of this book that we're talking about takes place in East Texas, so that's pretty wonderful. She is done a lot of directing of drama. She is a drama major, English, writing, and she's come up with some really great surprises. She's directed many plays on and off Broadway. It gives me great pleasure to say, Sandy, welcome to the review.
Thank you for having me.
And
I'm glad to be here.
Well, you're so welcome. You know, I kind of ran through introducing you, so throughout the conversation, we'll probably find out more about you. I certainly do hope so, but mainly because I am so ready to dig into the book today, Life of a Firefly, the incredible adventures and mostly true stories of Sandy Fort. Give us a little snippet about what is going on in Life of a Firefly.
Well, it is a story about me. It's a memoir. And it's about my life from the ages of 3 to 12, when I was moving back and forth from the ghettos of Chicago. And then I would spend most of the other time with my grandmother in Texas. And so she was my rock. She was my role model. And so she pretty much gave me the will that I needed to survive in Chicago streets.
Yes.
So that's pretty much what the story.
I love the way you tell this story. It is so heartfelt and endearing. It certainly brings back a lot of memories. Rose, I know it brought back a lot of memories
because I was
for you.
reared just like that. I knew about the water, the well, the outhouse. I grew up like that till I was 14.
Yeah.
Because I lived with my grandparents in a rural town.
I knew
here in Texas.
Right? Was it East Texas?
No,
in Texas.
Yes, I did. It was in. It was a community about 19 miles south of Fairfield.
That's it. I couldn't remember the name of it, but yeah.
But I grew up in a community at that time called Winkler.
Okay.
It's no longer called that now. They got a post office and it became Streetland.
So I was thinking about you a lot when I was reading this because I said, Rose grew up in the rural roads of Texas, so she's having fun with this book. Well, we're going to jump in. I don't actually always start with this, but you have so many wonderful characters, Sandy, in this book. Let's talk about some of them. For instance, everybody loves Grandma, right? Yes. But who did you have?
Absolutely. But we know what? We called her Big Mama. But, since they had made all these weird movies with the name Big Mama in it, I said, I'm just going to call her Grandma in the book because maybe more people can relate to that, so they won't think of the other Big Mamas that were out there. Yeah.
That was really clever of you. We learned that strategy is important, and whatever we do, it's good to strategize, and that was a good strategy move right there. I loved that she was referred to as Grandma. And which character did you enjoy building the most? I know this is from your memoir, so these characters are based on real people, but you've done some build up with them. So who did you have the most fun working with?
I think it had to be Peggy Lomax.
That's what
my nemesis.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with her. A lot of memories started to come back with her, and some of the things that she did was pretty treacherous. So I didn't put everything that she did in the book.
Good for you and her, right?
Yeah.
So if there was a character who you felt was truly the villain, who would that have been, and what struggles did that character give you? Well,
I try to make my characters sort of not all villain and not all good, because with everyone they have aspects of good and bad in their personalities, and so, but it was hard to find, anything good with Peggy Lomax. So, and I searched a lot. What good can I say about her,
Right.
But maybe I would have blocked some of those things out of my memory. I don't know. But when you look back on life, you tend to think of all of just the bad things that people did versus the good things that they did. So, but it was, I would think it was Sandra, her name was actually Sandra Lomax, but I changed it to Peggy since my name is Sandra too.
Oh, okay.
So we changed all the names of the guilty in the book. As well as the innocent.
Would you consider Peggy a bully?
I consider her, now that she's grown up, and these are real people, mind you, so I've got to be very careful.
Oh, okay. All right.
But now that she's grown up, she did go to jail for quite a while for abusing children, and she did have a lot of problems. So some of those problems were probably evident when she was a child.
Yeah.
But back then, you didn't send your kid to a psychiatrist or anything. You didn't sort of analyze them. You just, it was what it was, basically.
Yeah.
Because they seem to be like a little upper crust family, or more of a middle class family, because she had better things. Am I correct?
She did, absolutely. I would consider her rather spoiled because she was showered with many, many things, as a child that I was rather envious of, at the time, because I was like, why her, why does she have all this? I have nothing, But, these are the little things that kids remember when they're growing up. But the bully in the story, which is called Gorilla Girl, now you would think that she would be the actual bad person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
she
you
was
know who else was
misunderstood.
bad? That boy that broke your bottles. And the lady made him, his foster mother made him come give you them $1.50, and he had to apologize. He was a bully.
He was.
Because he messed with you. He was all that song about your mama and her underwear. I see this boy right here.
That was crazy.
He was crazy. But it was amazing. I don't know. I guess, but you know, in the country, you do find out everything. That she found out what he had done, because y'all were out there by yourself when he knocked you down. But she still found out what he had done.
Well, you know, actually, I did, I guess in retrospect, sort of feel for him. And even then, because we sort of knew that he was a foster child, and he was being shifted back and forth to different homes all the time. I don't know why, you know, maybe because of his personality or whatever. And that tends to make people angry.
Right.
And I think he took that anger out. He had to take that anger out on someone that he felt that, you know, that was lesser or smaller than he was. And I felt maybe that could be, you know, I was trying to justify his behavior basically.
But you showed compassion for him when you were praying. You asked God to help him have a mother.
I did.
So you had compassion in your heart for him.
You know, Sandy, I know I'm not from Texas, and I don't quite understand every lingo in the book. But one thing that fascinated me was when Becky fell in the hole in the train. And then you were telling your grandmother when she called you on the phone. And I love your grandmother because she's always so compassionate, always try to make you see things in a different way. And then you all started singing the song In the Hole.
Oh, yeah.
I want you to know that I know that song. I put that book down and I was singing, and the green grass grew all around.
Yes, I remember too, but it was a song we did in a tune like that, but we didn't have the grass. It was you would
frog in the log.
Yeah, but we had the grass. I was born in the Caribbean, Sandy, and then we had the grass, and the green grass grew all around, and the green grass grew all around. So you had me singing. I put the book down and I said, I'm not reading anything. I'm just going to sing. Yeah, but it was wonderful. I really and truly do love. I really did love your grandmother. You know, I love everything about you, but. You were the bossy one. You were the one that wouldn't keep quiet, you know? How did that affect?
I had a big mouth.
Yes.
And, you know, my grandmother said, you know, your mouth gonna get you in trouble, you know?
That's what they used to tell me too.
And she was right until I learned how to taper that down.
Yes,
you know?
Yes.
Well, I think the majority of us around this table had those things told to us when we were children. You, Rose, and myself.
Yes.
Listen, guys, you're tuned in to the Review with Joy and Company. Right now, we're visiting with who is just a delightful book, a delightful visit. We're visiting with Sandra Brown Lindstedt, talking about her book, Life of a Firefly, the incredible adventures and mostly true stories of Sandy Ford. Now, if you've got someone in your life who's just entering into the world of chapter books, this is the book for them, right?
Yes, it's a
I
good
mean,
book.
this
It is
book
a good
is
book.
so wonderfully written. It is so wonderfully told. And any child, we're getting ready to go into summer soon. Well, spring just got here, but what a better time to give your child or a friend or neighbor a wonderful read, and introducing your children to chapter books. It's a great stage. You know, it's definitely an elevation, and you have to be very careful the books that you give to them when they're at that tender stage of reading. You want something that's going to keep them wanting to turn the next page. You know, you want to keep them away from video games. Remind them how great a book could be. And this is definitely a story that will do that. So visit us at joyandcompany.org to get your copy of Life of a Firefly. It's just a really sweet read. And I'm pitching it for your kids that are walking into the world of chapter books. But I tell you, it was a great read for me also.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a great read.
I have a question. Your memoir, I Am Firefly's Ascending, it said it was a 3-part series. So was it broken up into 3 sections in the one book, or did you have 3 different books?
Well, I actually have sort of stopped the memoir now because and now I'm doing a 3-part series for the Life of a Firefly in the children genre, young adults, because I felt that this was better written than the I Am Firefly's Ascending.
Okay.
And it was more depth in it. But many of the adults that read the book, they also purchased the child's version, and they loved the child's version.
Yes.
But it wasn't as intense as the adult version was. But yeah, so right now I'm writing. I'm busy writing every day. I think I'm on chapter 6 now of the sequel of Life of a Firefly, from her ages to 12 to 16.
Oh, okay.
And,
yeah, that's really
and
good.
that's in the end. She actually gets married, because I got married at 16. Believe it or not.
Wow.
Okay. I believe you.
Yeah. And well, she's not going to actually get married, but it's like she's been proposed to, basically.
Okay.
And so that's the end of the series.
Oh.
So we never know whether she gets married or not.
So you don't take the series and go to Broadway with it?
No, I don't. My life was very complicated, and I don't want to. I mean, I would have to then make it into an adult, adult book.
Oh, okay.
And so I want to just try to stick with the young adults and middle school.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm just going to through her high school years.
Okay.
In the next one.
When I read about it, when I was thinking about this, I didn't know you were doing a series of Life of a Firefly, but I was going to suggest that, because to me, how you progress from the ghettos to playwright to author, and Broadway, to me, that's something to aspire a young child now, that they can aspire for greatness. Being from the ghetto.
But that's what my husband has been telling me nonstop. He's like, you should just keep going. Yeah, but it's rather. I guess I have to be inspired myself to do it.
You do.
But what you could do, you could make a fiction book and clean it up and just take pieces of your life and not go to the adult side of it, and create what you may have felt your life could have been like, and create a stage like that.
That's an idea.
Because I think where you progress from the ghettos to Sweden, now that's a story, girl. I just think
it is.
I think it's something to tell.
I never really thought about it. Just every day you live in your life,
Yes.
But
you can
I would
make
think
Sandy
so.
whoever you want her to be.
Exactly, and it's definitely a journey that you have been on. We all have a journey, in our lives. Life is a journey, but that's the wonderful thing about fiction. It's like Rose said, you can take it in any direction you want her to go in. Sandy can grow and grow and grow. I particularly love words, and I love how you flow with your words. I love how you describe things, and particularly I want to tell you what grabbed me, and I became a diehard fan at the very beginning of the book. On page 5, you were describing Aunt Sarah. And I had to read it several times. I think it's down midway the page, because I would love to hear it read in your voice. I think it's on page 5, paragraph 8, and Aunt Sarah was reading A Christmas Story to you in glory, and you were amazed, you were mesmerized by her. So give us just a feel of your powerful wording here. I thought it was just so beautiful, where you said you watched her lips. Do you see where I am?
Okay. Oh, yes, I have it here.
Yes. Would you mind reading that for us?
Oh, sure. I will.
Just listen, you guys. You're going to get a little...
Can I start up a little bit up? Just
Sure.
so I can give context
Sure.
to what I'm saying.
Sure.
It says, she says, today is Christmas Eve, and I decided to read to you all a story from the Bible, she said. Oh, no, we said in unison. It's about the birth of Jesus, and it's not a fable like the others, but it's about a true Christmas miracle. No, we cried again. Aunt Sarah grabbed our hands and pulled us down to the floor facing her. And it's about this mean old King Herod, who was outsmarted by 3 wise black kings from Africa. These kings were so rich that they brought bags of gold, incense, and myrrh just for Jesus' baby shower. What's incense and myrrh? I asked. Well, now you just be quiet and listen like Glory, and I'm gonna explain. I watched her red lips move as her raven-like black eyes darted over the pages. I hoped that one day I would grow up to be just like her, a free form of melted molasses, pouring out fountains of knowledge into eager clay pots.
Wonderfully written. Wonderful use of wording. I mean, I began to see Aunt Sarah, and I fell in love with her. I fell in love with her look, but I really fell in love with you as a storyteller at that point on page 5. So that's, for me, that's saying a lot. It usually takes a little bit more than 5 pages to make me a diehard fan. So good job with that. I thought that was a great way to describe someone. Yeah.
It's amazing you would say that because I had just started chapter 1 and I was talking to a friend and I was telling her about the book and I got so into it, she's gone out to buy the book.
Yeah.
Because I sold her on it with just the dialogue and I was reading too. I said, girl, listen to how she telling it.
Yes.
You know, so she was excited. I'm like, girl, I'm getting that book.
You know what? I'm not kidding. There are so many women who love this book. So many ladies. And I'm like, why don't I just put it as maybe African American literature, you know, instead of just saying this is a children's book, but bring it into the group of that genre, yes. African American literature. I think historical literature. I think that that I should broaden actually my fan base because there are so. I mean, my friend of mine, I just reconnected with her named Barbara Fitzgerald. She lives right outside of Chicago, and so she bought the book because she heard that that I wrote it, and so she messaged me on Facebook. She said, I bought the book and I couldn't put it down. I read it all the way through the night to the next day.
Yeah. It's one of those kinds of books.
And I finished it. Guys. So I'm like, maybe I should just do this for women too, just African American literature and all, men and women. Why
Actually, not? Why not? And we definitely can be multi genre. It can fall in so many different genres, and but it will appeal to anyone who picks the book up to read it. It starts off being a good chapter book for I think the age group between 8 or 9 is up on up. But there's so many truisms in the book. So much that you can learn from the book about raising children, just about that whole age of coming of age time in young adults' lives. And even from a parenting perspective, there's just so much that you richly give in telling this story. And it made me think that isn't that one of the things that we cherish about growing up in the South, is that it just comes with such richness, and we all have a very rich story in us to tell. So listen, guys, the book is Life of a Firefly, The Incredible Adventures and Mostly True Stories of Sandy Fort. It's a beautiful book. It was well written. You, your children, anyone who picks it up will enjoy this read. Rose, do we have to say hello to some people?
Yes, we do. And
okay.
We have a request for her to read more.
Oh, okay.
Stella
We started something there.
Yeah, Stella Alexander says, I want to hear more. Auntie grabbed their attention immediately. She know how to make her words sparkle and dance to a fun tune.
Yes.
And you do. I just love it. I love the dialect. It's a piece in there where she talks about faith. I like how she describes faith.
Is that when she was getting on the train? And she was introducing Sandy to the Holy Spirit with the Firefly?
Let her do that.
Let's do that. It's on page number 38.
Okay, well, Sandy, we're taking you to page number 38.
But I was saying
all right.
Okay, we got to say hello to Nicole Harvey, Stella Alexander, Ox King, Vanessa Dewberry, and John Bell. Yes. And Nicole Harvey.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for jumping in the stream with us today. I'm so excited that you're here because this is a different time for us to be live. The review normally airs on streams live at 7:00 p.m. on Mondays. And because our author is in the beautiful country of Sweden, maybe you'll get to tell us a little bit about life in Sweden. Our time kind of changed today, so this is different and exciting. Are you ready, Sandy, to give us a little bit more reading?
You know,
I am.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited about Stella.
I do want. This is a request from my husband. He just asked me to read the little poem first about baptism when I was baptized.
That's good. That would be great.
Out.
Tell us what page you're on.
That's on chapter 64, chapter 7, the baptism when I got baptized.
Yeah.
And it says, water feels cold, but me don't mind. Preacher going too slow, just taking his time. Hoping no snakes moving down under there. Pushing me under, kind of making me wonder if I was ever coming up for air. Sure hope he don't drown me. Keep me just like he found me. Hope that ain't no worms moving around my feet. I pray the Lord my soul he keep. Preacher said, nah, I be washed clean. Got me wondering just what he mean. Well, it wasn't so bad, I suppose. 'Cause just like Jesus did, I rose.
That was beautiful.
That was
really good.
Tell your husband he picked good.
Yes, he did. That was good.
Karen Coleman says, this is a pleasant surprise to hear from you at this hour.
I know, right, Karen? I almost didn't get here. I was like in the middle of something and it dawned on me, wait a minute.
I gotta go to the studio.
12 o'clock in the daytime. So thank you for jumping in at this hour with us, Karen. We love you.
Thank you, Karen. You know, Sandy, I want to say a special thank you to Stella Alexander, because I had this in my hand trying to see how I could actually get you to read, again, and Stella went right in there. And it's on page 38. About the Firefly, when you spoke, about Becky, when you left Becky behind, and then you were really angry because you was asking the Firefly to get me my dolly, and then he came and he did something so beautiful with your sister on page 38.
That
so
was so
could you
sweet what Glory did.
take it from wherever you want to, because I may
yeah.
tell you to start somewhere, but you want to take it somewhere else. On page 38.
38. Okay, I'll just start. Suddenly, Glory turned to me, giving me her handkerchief. "Don't you worry about Miss Becky," she said. "She gonna be all right. Grandma made her out of strong materials, and she's real pretty. So you can bet if anybody find her, they're gonna take care of her just like you did. And you know what? I'm thinking I'm too old to be playing with dolls, so you can play with mine if you want. I know she ain't anything like me, but she needs somebody to play with her and take care of her. You." She took the doll out of her suitcase and carefully placed her in my arms. The adoption was complete, and so was the forgiveness. I forgave Glory for leaving me in the schoolyard. I forgave her for leaving me alone with that horrible hole on the train, and for all the other acts of unkindness I had kept a record of since the silence had begun. And I was glad that on this night she had decided to share both her doll and her words with me. I can only hope Miss Becky found a nice home and a kind person to take care of her. And even though my Firefly hadn't chose to show his light, Glory had chosen to speak to me, to find her voice. Perhaps this was the beginning of unlocking the secret of her silence, if only for a moment. Maybe that was the plan all along. The Firefly must have known it would take a big sacrifice to get my sister back, and he was willing to sacrifice Miss Becky. Now, wasn't that just like a real friend?
Oh, it was. That was a beautiful moment in the book.
And I think what made it so special was the fact that Glory hardly ever said anything, and she was so quiet and subdued, and she showed love and compassion.
Yes.
And I think Sandy may have at some time felt, girl, weird. I don't know if she liked nobody. I don't know what's wrong with her.
Definitely.
But then it was like a hard moment, like, my sister loved me.
Yes.
She's sweet.
Exactly.
She's nice.
Yes.
I thought it was precious.
It was precious. And not only that, then you were also able to forgive. You forgot all the horrible things that, well, it wasn't really horrible, but, the things that she did, like living you. I was walking with you going home that day. I was really walking with you, and I'm thinking, would she be able to get home? Does she know where she's going? When your sister left you.
Yes, when you were in Chicago
when you were
and
in
went to school.
Yeah.
But she left on that train when she went to get back to that
She left her She left her quite
and
a few
that
times.
cake, all the pieces of cake Grandma gave.
Oh, Jesus.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
It's amazing how fast time moves when we do a show with covering a book that just had us, that actually took us someplace else. And that's what I enjoy about reading. You can pick up a really good book and it kind of elevates you or takes you. It's like you travel with it, and you definitely travel into a place and time when reading Life of a Firefly. So, Sandy, what I'd like to know is, what is the relevancy of the Firefly to your storytelling?
Well, I use the Firefly as a metaphor for faith. The Bible says that faith is you can have faith as small as a grain of the mustard seed.
Yes.
So I just wanted to have something very tiny, and to signify that, that it was always going to be there. If you keep it, you can have faith. And so when she swallowed the Firefly, she internalized the faith that was there, but her grandmother sort of ignited it in her life.
And pulled it out.
So that's why I chose a Firefly, because what does it say? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So even though she couldn't see the Firefly, she could feel it. She knew it was there.
Yeah, she knew it was
The
there.
grandmother had said it was there.
Yes.
And that's all she needed to keep going is faith. Because I learned faith, and I believe that God gave me the gift of faith when I was 9 years old. About when I had the shoes, when I needed the shoes to go.
Oh my
go
God!
to.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God! You know, when I thought of that, I thought about how how the word says God will take, even though it was meant for bad, He can turn it and work all things work together for good
Yes.
for those that are called, are the called. So, although Charlie was out gambling and then got them shoes, God used it to answer her prayer.
Yes.
Because she wanted shoes.
Yes.
And then to have that lady have that boy come back and give her the $1.50. There was her $1.25 to get off. I just thought it was
Give you more than enough.
God. Look at God. And then she had a quarter left, but she didn't know where she was gonna go get something to eat. And then the nice lady who ended up buying her lunch, and she had double what the girl next to her had on the bus. I was like, boy, look at God. Double for your trouble.
He's good like that. He's good like that.
Oh, the book has so many nuggets.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Yes.
To take life, just everyday life, and show you God in it.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's what your grandmother taught you to
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Is see God in everyday
Everything.
life.
Yes.
Because that's where He is anyway.
Exactly, exactly. You know, guys, if you don't get this book for anything else, it is worth it to get the book and read how her grandmother introduces her to the Holy Spirit, likening it on to that firefly that she ate when she was 5 years old. That was just the most tender and precious thing. And I'm like, that's truly how the Holy Spirit resides within us and rests within us. And we can feel Him at some point. And then when we begin to acknowledge Him and start talking with Him, He becomes like a real person to you. Yes. It was beautiful to see her plant that seed into that little small 7-year-old, and she didn't know what her grandmother was telling her, but whoa, did that firefly not follow her throughout her life? I'm sure that's how you got to Sweden, right?
Absolutely.
Stella Alexander says, Firefly brought beauty and light to the night. We love fireflies.
Yes.
Yes.
When I grew up, we call them lightning bugs.
I was going to say that. We didn't call them fireflies.
We call them lightning bugs.
Yes.
Lightning bugs too.
Oh,
Yeah, I
no,
lightning bugs.
yeah,
You just went
I'm
with
like,
the terminology so that people would know what it really was.
I gotta get a broad audience here, so let me say fireflies.
Because and my brother and I used to catch them and put them in the jar, just like you and Glory did. And we used to scare my sister with them. I loved it. I chased her around.
With the fireflies in the jar?
Yes.
Did y'all punch holes in the top?
Yes, we did.
Okay, all right, y'all did it right.
We got there. We used to terrorize her.
Yeah, that's right. Because when you didn't punch the holes, they died.
Yes. There was a lesson in that Sandy learned from her sister too. Her sister was definitely quiet, but there was also Glory's personality was a lesson for parents today, because you have children have different personalities, and so you have to react to them and respond to them differently. I'm not a parent, but I do believe that, because you have to know your children and know what's taken with them, because there was so much going on in that river within Glory that she shut, and she wasn't always like that. Am I right about that, Sandy?
Right.
Yeah,
She was older, so she could
Chicago.
understand that we were sort of being left
Yes,
by
because
my mother.
Right.
So she could understand a lot more than what I could. So and so she became a little bit she went inward.
Yes, she did.
To herself, so that she wouldn't be hurt. She wouldn't feel that sense of abandonment.
Yes.
And loss. And that's what I try to tell children a lot in this book, that they don't have to feel alone, because today's society, the things that are happening, now is incredible. I mean, we lived, growing up, I lived in an era, the 60s, and the things, it was historical era, and this is a historical what we're going through here right now, and the sense of abandonment and loss and all those kinds of things. Children feel them, but they don't know how to express them.
Right. They don't know how to process everything that's going on. And as parents or adults in those children's lives, you really have to pay attention to them. I was in the car with my 9-year-old. She had just turned 9 years old, like 2 days before this conversation. And we get in the car, and Felicia's granddaughter, and the first thing that comes out of her mouth was, T-Joy, what is going on with this war? And she begins to ask me questions about the war, and I was like, oh my God, I haven't been watching the news.
She'd have been in trouble with me.
Get me out of this conversation. So we really have to pay attention, because the media is out there, and children are on Facebook. They're watching television and listening and seeing things that when we were children, Sandy, we did not have access to. So they have questions now that we think are only on adult levels. But adults, we've got to figure out a way to communicate what's going on with them on their levels, so that they can understand it and still feel safe. Because I was really taken back by this 9-year-old asking me so many deep questions about the war, and me feeling like on the edge of my seat, wanting to be sure that I gave her the right answers, And they know when you don't know, so you can't fake it with them.
Yes.
You can't tell children
They'll
today.
turn around and tell you that ain't it.
I know. I was. Yes. So we have to be astute enough and be real with them and let them know that you're safe and you're loved, and this is how we're going to overcome this and get through it.
Joy, when you were talking about you not a parent and you may not know how to explain the situation with children, I looked at you and I got tickled, because you don't have to be a parent. You were a different child. So you understand where glory is, because you were
I was a different child.
You know what I'm saying? So you could be glory. You weren't necessarily subdued, but you know how you ran around with them books all the time.
Yeah, I did. I hid behind them.
Trying to read.
Yeah.
But look at you now.
Still riding around with these books all the time. And I'm so happy today. I've been to the doctor's office and every place else with Life of a Butterfly. Life of a Firefly in my hand. And you know what? This book catches attention because it's so pretty. The cover is so pretty. And people were asking me several times, so what are you reading? And I'm like, oh, this is such a good book. You need to get it for your child. But get it for yourself too, because there's just so much truth in the book and so many things that will make you go, I remember that,
I read it straight through. I work evenings. So when I got home last night, I kind of wind down a little, and I told my friend, okay, I'm finna hang up because I got to read this book. And at 6:50 this morning, I texted and said, I'm finished.
Were you getting ready to say something, Sandy?
Oh, I was just going to say that when you were talking to your 9-year-old, when I was 9 years old, I was just like in a historical moment thinking about what is colored people, what is racism. I didn't understand all those kinds of things that was going on.
Yes.
I couldn't understand it. Like in Chicago, we didn't have water fountains that said colored or white. We just had water fountains, and we could try on the clothes there and everything. And when I went to Texas, in that time, they had the colored and white bathrooms and fountains. And I said, why do they call us colored? Yeah. Everybody colored, aren't they? So I didn't understand it. So just like when she's asking about the war, I was asking questions, and I felt that my Uncle Zippy, he could tell me answer some of these questions that I had, because Yeah, you know, it's hard questions.
Yeah,
especially for parents to answer.
And it's so easy as an adult to push the child aside, because in your mind as an adult you're thinking they don't know what they're talking about. Girl, that's for a grown up. Go sit down. Go play. It is so easy to do that to children, but we can't do that, and we owe them more than to push aside. We really do.
You know, she was talking about Uncle Zippy. It amazed me.
Don't you love him? I love him.
How she never got in that house. Uncle Zippy just said, got to walking back through them woods. I don't care why you left, but you finna go back.
Uncle Zippy was a character because
I love Uncle Zippy.
You don't care why you going back. I said, well, at first I say, well, maybe the wife in there crazy, peeping all outside. Maybe she don't want her to come. Maybe he know he can't take her in because she crazy. I was thinking all kind of stuff about Uncle Zippy. Just, we finna walk, don't even matter. Come on,
let's go. Uncle Zippy reminded me of a couple of my brothers.
No, I was saying Uncle Zippy was clever because he explained to you why he drove slow.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. I loved it.
You know, you didn't want nobody to get excited.
Exactly. And he would wave to the office.
Yeah.
One of these, you know, like this.
All of her uncles were funny though. The one that rode on the train with him.
Yes.
To take him to Chicago.
Yes, Timmy, Uncle Timmy was funny.
Timmy, yeah. Oh, and when she almost cut her foot off. Oh my God.
That was so scary.
I know that cold hurt. Oh, that kerosene hurt.
Even though I was 2, I still remember that scene very well.
I bet you remember your foot being on fire.
That's traumatic.
That was traumatic.
Oh,
I still have a big gash that you could see in my foot on that side. Yeah, you can. So when I grew up, I was wondering, why do I have this gash? Because I didn't really remember what had happened to it. Then it all came back to me, what happened. Yeah.
Oh. Well, Sandy, we're really excited about your visit, and we're going to give you a little bit more time to tell us some more of your perspective of life of a Firefly. But we have to do a couple of housekeeping things first. So we're in the last Monday for Women's History Month, and we've got some giveaways to give away. So, Rose, do we have everybody?
Yeah, and I'm going to say hello to Keith first. He's with us, too.
Hey, Keith. I pulled last time. Let
Rosemary pull. Okay, here you go, Rosemary.
Okay.
You can
so
shake
let's rub our hands together and see who gets
Who's
the
gonna
last
win?
giveaway
Who's gonna
for the Women's History. Here we go. Da-da-da, drum roll. You ready? Oh, I'm going too fast. Rosemary LeGrand.
Oh no! Oh yes!
Who is it?
Keith Hurst.
Oh, that's great! Look at Keith. Last one to join, and he won. Oh my God, that's great.
That's funny. Congratulations, Keith Hurst.
We need to give Keith a copy of this book. He would love it.
Keith would love this book. He would.
Yes.
Keith, you've just received our last giveaway for Women's History Month, so congratulations. We'll be in contact with you to get your information to send a nice little gift to you for that. Thank you guys for jumping in the stream with us. We've had fun doing the giveaways in February for Black History Month, and then we kept it going for March for Women's History Month. Don't tell me anything is going. I know April is something, but we're not doing giveaways in April. Sandy, we always like to say thank you to our authors when you come and allow us the opportunity to read your book and talk about it. One thing you've learned about the trio is that we love a good read and we have fun. We can so easily get carried away. But we don't want to get carried away without thanking you from our heart. We do it in the person of Rosemary LeGrand as she brings the WIC, Words Inspiring Change. Listen to this.
Thank you, Joy. The Word of God says in Jeremiah 29:11-13 in the Message Bible, it says, "For I know what I am doing. I have it all planned out. Plans to take care of you, not to abandon you. Plans to give you the future you hope for. When you call on me, when you come and pray to me, I will listen. When you come looking for me, you will find me. Child of God, simply receive those promises as your own. Keep on keeping on. You must stay on course. God knows what He's doing in your life. God wants you to have an abundant life in your current situation as you wait for the future plans that He has, especially for you. We all experience obstacles as we go through life trials. When you find yourself in this situation, you must not give up. You must do your part and continue living and being faithful and fruitful. God does have a plan for your life, but His plan may not be in your own timing. It is in His timing, because He says, I make all things beautiful in my time. So until next time, always remember, we must seek God with all of our hearts. It is then and only then will we find Him, and He is able to work out anything in your life for good. May God richly bless you.
You know, it goes hand in hand with Sandy's story.
Indeed.
Because she's a perfect example of God can take anything and take you to heights unknown. And I know, Sandy, you said that some of it wasn't that pretty, or wasn't something you really want to remember, or that you might regret. But that's with all of our lives. You're no different. And I just think God has taken you to heights unknown. And it's a proven fact that we can do anything with Christ but fail.
Indeed, indeed.
Yes.
And that's what I thought about it when I was doing the week for Sandy, when he says, I know what I am doing.
Yes.
And I have it all planned out.
Yes.
You know, because He does know what He's doing. I mean, we are the ones that trying to scratch our heads and trying to wonder when, how, why, where, what for.
Yes.
You know, but He knows everything.
Yeah.
He knew she'd be in Sweden right now talking to us.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Kudos to you, Sandy.
So, Sandy, Life of a Firefly is your memoir. And we've discovered through this conversation that you can actually put it in the genres of children's, youth and young adult, just general fiction, Black historical writing, so many different things you can do with the book. What perspective or belief systems have you challenged with writing Life of a Firefly, and were any of your personal belief systems challenged when you took pen to pad? I don't know if she's still with
Not
us.
compromise my belief in God and my belief in Jesus Christ. And so those things, no matter, I mean, people say, okay, you can't put this in the book about Jesus or whatever, because, you know, the schools won't take those books with Jesus. I said, well, that's just, sorry, you know.
Yes,
I'm still going to do what I felt in my heart that I should do, because He is the reason for all seasons, right? And so, so that was some of the things that, and I said that whatever I write, is going to glorify Him,
Praise
my
God.
Creator. He is the one who, like you said, the reason why I'm here today.
Yes.
Is because of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And so, no matter what, I'm not going to take certain advice from different editors and things like that said you should tone that down, or you shouldn't talk so much about that. You know, I'm going to say what the Holy Spirit told me to say. And many times I would wake up in the morning and I would have a poem in my hand or something like that, and I would start writing really fast, because I knew it was the Holy Spirit that was literally giving me lots of things to put down on paper.
Okay.
So I didn't compromise that, and I will never compromise that. And then some people, even in the church, that are very strict, said, oh, you put these things in there about her not liking to go to church and this, you shouldn't put that in there.
Yes.
I'm sorry, or not sorry. This is what I'm going to do. And I also made a conscious decision. Some of the words that were used, cuss words and things in Chicago, I was not going to put that in the book.
Okay.
Because you can use other words if you're an author, you're a writer, to describe something, but people know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yes. Without you having to use those words. So yeah. So I learned a lot about what I would and wouldn't do for money's sake.
Yes.
Because they said you can sell more if you do this or sell more. No, I'm just going to do that, and God's going to bless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy you answered that question in the way that you did.
Me
because
too.
as an author, guys, you really do have to have that conversation with yourself.
Yes.
How far you're going to go and how far you're going to allow people to lead you to go into a different direction. And where do you start or stop? Because we're in this kick. I'm writing my memoir, and this is the reality of it. This is what was said. This is what happened, especially when we go and to the point of we're sharing our testimonies. But when you're writing on a faith-based platform, you do have to take that extra time to figure out how to let your audience know what happened, what was said, and not necessarily say it all the time, because there is such a thin line between sensationalism and truth, And are you writing to sell books, or are you writing for a deeper purpose, for someone to get healed from your story? Or, there's so many reasons. And before you get that book published or even take it to an editor, you have to have those questions answered within yourself. Because as a reader, we know when you didn't deal with those serious questions.
We do.
We know when you're embellishing. And we know if you're truly healed when you're telling your testimonies or not. We can tell. So good job. Thank you for answering that so beautifully. Rose?
Thank you.
We need to say hello to Daphne Watts, who joined.
Hi, Daphne.
And Adrienne Elliott, who joined. And Stella Alexander says, did y'all shake it good? Keith, send me my gift you stole.
I love it. I think it won't be in April, but we might have to do another month of giveaways because we had fun doing this.
Yeah. Maybe we could do one more since we missed a Monday.
Yeah.
We could. We could do another one next week.
Yeah.
We could do that.
Yeah.
All right, Rose is the rationale here. We'll extend Women's History Month giveaway for another week, so you still have chance to win, Stella.
And I'll put Daphne and Adrienne in the next week's
For
drawing.
next week.
Okay,
Yes.
Sounds great. Well, Sandy, is there anything you'd like to leave with our audience about Life of a Firefly?
Well, I would just say that if you want to, just like what you guys have already said, pretty much what I would say. If you want a good book to read and at home, and it's not that hard of a book, and I think that it's pretty uplifting. This is a great book to get for your child or even for yourself.
Yes.
To read.
Yes.
And Look, my husband's sitting over here telling me.
Yeah, hello. I'm sorry barging in like this. I have been on this journey from the very start, beginning of 2015.
Okay.
And I can tell you, there have been so many changes. We're talking hundreds of changes until the book is what it is today, because now the book is perfect, and that's why it has won those awards. One of the companies even appointed it the best of all fiction books. Can you believe that? That was a reader views.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reader views said this is the best fiction book of the year.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
That's
Sorry.
wonderful. No, don't apologize, hubby. I'm glad you jumped in because you actually, I wanted to talk about that. Guys, this book has already won about 9 literary awards.
Yes.
It's exciting. And you know what? It is humbling for me that it is up for grabs for a Henry Award at the 2022 Christian Literary Awards. And so this is really something. And to know that we're fitting in with other literary awards,
Yes.
it's a blessing on so many levels. So thank you for jumping in and sharing that with us and reminding us that this is a getter and a keeper. It's Life of a Firefly, the incredible adventures and mostly true stories of Sandy Ford. And you can visit us at joyandcompany.org to get your copy of what could be your best summer read. Most fun for sure. And after being on this journey with your wife for the past since 2015, you deserve a spot on the radio show.
Yes.
Okay, don't get him started.
Don't get him started. One more question, Sandy.
My ultimate goal is to have this as a 12-part series. At some point, and I could see this as a children's television series.
I love your ambition, and you're right. It would be a great television series.
Yes,
it really
yes.
would be. It would be. So I love that you're
What was
ambitious.
that show Janet Jackson used to play on with JJ? Good Time.
Good Time.
Yes, it reminds me of Good Times.
Yeah,
yes.
Good Times. So do you?
I think it was an African American Little House on the Prairie or something.
Yeah, it
There
could
you
be.
go, there
It
you
really
go.
could be. Yes.
Well, Tyler Perry, I hope you're listening.
Amen.
Yeah. So, Sandy, tell me, do you get an opportunity to interact with your audience frequently? Or not necessarily frequently, but do you get that audience interaction?
Well, I look forward to getting I have a Facebook author page, and I get a lot of people writing me there. We try to respond to as many people as we can. Right now, I have to send out 200 messages that I haven't done yet to different people who have written on my Facebook author page.
Okay.
So I do get a lot of back and forth there.
Awesome. Wow.
But I want to do more like Zoom for school, because I did read for like 200 students that were in the 8th grade, and that was really good to hear what they had to say, like one-on-one.
Yes.
Face-to-face contact. So I want to do more of things like that to try to contact more schools in Chicago and Texas and things
Yes.
like that. Yeah.
Are you experiencing a difference in your audience from your American audience as per your, or in contrast to your international audience?
Actually, I do.
Okay.
Because Americans, they're used to this type of literature. They're used to these scenarios or whatever.
Yes.
But here in Sweden, when I read one of the stories to, I think I had like 6 group of 5th graders, and they just were like mesmerized. They were like, "What happened to Sandy? What is she? Why did they do it?" They were like very angry, that these things were going on.
Yes.
But this was like ordinary life, in certain parts of the, of the city and things like that. So they were more emotional about the book than. Yeah.
I thought about that when I was reading the fact that you live in Sweden and have done other traveling and had so many different experiences in your life. I was wondering how those different people relate to your storytelling. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And a lot of my husband's friends,
Yes.
they also wrote me letters about what they felt about the book and the injustice of, racism and all these kinds of things. Because, they don't get a close-up, I guess, knowing a person who has lived through certain things.
Right. Yeah, so you get to experience it and see it on another level other than coming across the media. And it opens your eyes to some things. Wonderful storyline here, Life of a Firefly, the incredible adventures, and mostly true, I love that you put that in there, stories of Sandy Fort. She is a little girl who will just kind of step into your heart. You'll love her, you'll fall in love with her and all of those characters, and some not so much so, that surround her. So it's a good read to have and a better read to share. Rose, did you have something else?
I was just thinking Christopher Pop Curry joined us, and I could just see him reading this book to his grandkids.
Oh, they would love it.
God.
Yes.
And he would do as well as Sandy because he speaks so well, and I could just see him with this dialect.
Yes. He oh my God, he's a wonderful orator, so he would do a great job reading this, which you so did. I'd like to commend you, Sandy, for that. I'm acting like we've got a whole nother hour to go. And if Duke was here, he would be waving his hands at me. So listen, guys, we've got to wind this down. I want to say, Sandy, thank you again so very much for joining us. It has been a pleasure to visit with you and to read your story.
I had a wonderful time with you ladies. Let's do it again sometime.
Yes.
And tell me about the giveaway, because I want to know what are you giving away.
Well, you've got one more week. You got to come on it'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning when we're on next week your time.
I'll stay up. I don't care.
Do we have time for her to read one more thing?
Do we have? Yes, we've got time. Rose wants one more thing from you, Sandy. This is beautiful.
Okay.
I want you to go to chapter 10, page 93, and read the gift of faith.
Yes.
I just think somebody needs to hear that. Page 93.
Okay. The gift of faith?
Yes.
Do you want me to read the poem?
Yes.
Okay, let me put my glasses back on here. Okay. Now, faith is a substance. That's what I've been told. Weren't nothing you could see, but something you could hold. Thinking it was a mustard seed, I sealed it in a box. But when I went to take it out, no key would fit the lock. The only key was in my heart, made of light to destroy the dark. Whatever the need, great or small, that little seed fix it all. Just keep on believing and let it out, because God said keep it out. Just one thing I learned for sure. Faith real. Either you got it or you don't. When things happen, don't ask why. Just find that seed and you'll get by.
Oh, that was really, really special. Thank you. And that reminded me of a question I wanted to ask you. All of the poems, were they originals from you?
Yes.
Beautiful.
I would wake up with a poem just almost every morning.
While you were doing this project. That's awesome. God is so good. You're a very talented woman.
It's God, yes.
Yes.
I give him all the credit.
Well, thank you again for sharing with us. Anything else, Rosemary? Last final word?
No.
To say hello to
Say
Deborah
hello,
Goodman
yes,
joined.
indeed.
Hello,
indeed.
Deborah Goodman. Thanks for jumping in the stream with us today. Just want to thank everyone who jumped in the stream with us. Come back and visit us. We're here every Monday, most times from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We'll be back next week with a new author and a new book. Sandy, it was our pleasure. God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you for listening. Our purpose is to promote and support Christian literature. If you're an author, contact us at joyandcompany.org. We'd love to be in the midst of your company. And by the way, what are you reading?